All right, guys. I'm going to talk about something, and I know you guys probably are tired about hearing it, but it's about misground edges. Now, we've had this conversation. You guys know I get wound up about misground edges, and it's because they cause trouble for me to sharpen, and the reason I'm going to say it is there's two knives back to back that I'm having to address this issue. This is the piercer. This is that Doug Markita Bastiolini knives, Funker Tactical, big collab. This is possibly one of the ones that I may have to tell the owner, I can't get this 100% sharp. It is that badly ground. I've never had one that never had a knife I couldn't do. Tom, you're gonna recognize your knives. It is so poorly ground that I'm having a hard time getting the angle locked in because it's so small. And I mean, you can just see it's so short, and there's no sharpening notch or choil. There's no way for me to keep this ricasso for blocking my attempts to set the edge all the way back. And it's just those ones that I'm gonna have to get as good as I can get. I've never had a knife where I'm never happy with any knife that leaves the house, but eventually it reaches a point where I'm like, I'm spending a lot of time because I'm pretty much perfectionist. But I had set that one down because it's small and my hands were starting to hurt. I was like, you know, I did his Kaiser Anno on this Rogue. I did the purple, and so that you guys know, anodizing is just a little prismatic coating that is formed. It's an oxide layer. When you get oils and things on it, it changed the way the light refracts, and you won't get your purple anymore. But I did purple on this for him. But I had started to put it on the stones and get the angle right because it's fairly thin, but it has a bit of a misgrind to it. And I was looking down at it, and I was like, wow, that's pretty bad, but I didn't think it was as bad as it was. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this around and show you. You can kind of see it. No, you're not gonna be able to see it there. It is so faceted and so poorly ground that it's gonna be a nightmare. And I'm hoping he's got two other. I did one, the little Best Tech, and it wasn't too bad. It was a little bit misground. The whole blade was misground a little bit. So my angle's the same, but the primary grind isn't. My angle's as close as it's gonna get freehand. But on this is terrible. And I'm gonna turn the camera around. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. But when people get all wound, oh, I don't understand why you're complaining about the edge grind. It doesn't really matter all that much, and da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm gonna show you why it matters. So let's turn this around, and I'll explain why I think it matters. So let's get this camera turned around. We'll take a look. All right, guys, let me get this in focus. Hopefully I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. Can you see where my stone hasn't touched there or at the tip? There's two spots where I have to take. Now what I'm gonna have to do is I have to take off material here and here until I can marry that edge in all the way. And you can see it as you look down. Now I haven't even started on this side yet because all I was gonna do is I figured, you know, it's a wear and cliff. They're pretty easy, you know? But then you look down and you're like, I'm gonna have every bit as big a trouble with this because I don't think the blade. I think a lot of it has to do with as you run your fingers down, you can kind of feel spots where that blade thickens. And it's just strictly, it was a poorly done grind. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna grab one of the knives I made and we'll take a look at it. And these were machine ground and mine were ground by hand. So hang on just a second. So I'm not at all trying to toot my own horn, but this is a hand ground blade. And if you look down it, you don't see, now what you're seeing is there's some residue from the sheath. Do you see that? It 100% was done in the grinding process. And I did the initial sharpening on this on a grinder, so you can't say that it wasn't because it was done on a grinder. You can see where I left this a little thicker intentionally so my edge widens up as it trades, but you don't see that. It's straight all the way down. Those are wavers that you see. right? I ain't gonna lie, a hand ground blade is hard. You would think that a mass production company that uses a machine to grind their blades would be able to address that issue. It's windy out here. And it's 100%, like, I don't even think it's just at the edge, guys. I think that whole blade, if you look down it, you can see where the light hits that blade blank. Down the length, let's see if I can get it. Can you see what I'm talking about? There's low spots. There's one there. You know? So, yeah, you can see it. It's the blade. It's not just the edge. It's the entire grind of the blade. You can feel it as you come down. So I'm going to turn this back around, and we'll talk about why this is important from my perspective as somebody that sharpens a lot of knives. So now, back to the question is, why is that so important? You know, it's just a knife. Well, for a lot of people, yeah, it's just a knife, but you know, this is about a $400 knife is where I'm looking at for me to even have made any money with the materials and the time that went into it and things like that. The fact I sent it off for sheaths, like hand sharpening, and the time for the ceramic and all that, you know, time that I've got locked up into it, probably about a $400 knife. But a lot of knives I carry are not cheap knives. You know, most of my knives are in the $400 to $800 range. It's not something that you're just going to only use once and throw away, and that's the thought process. A lot of people, oh, it's just a knife, man. Fuck it, who cares? Throw it away. Well, I'm not throwing away a $700 knife just because it got dull. Kitchen knives, fuck it, just buy a new set. There's a lot of people that maintain their knives. Well, when you have an issue like that where there's just going to be no way for you to maintain that, I mean, I sharpen knives professionally, and it's going to take me a long time. You can see it there. You can see the difference in the light. It's going to take me a long time to fix this, and it's not going to be cheap. Now, for somebody that doesn't have the know-how to do it, it would take them longer, and then they would get frustrated and throw it away. And I mean, how much money are you willing to just throw down the toilet when it comes to it? I'm not really willing to throw any away. That's why I publicize the fact that I fix knives. The tip on that one knife that I did here not too long ago, the Bark River, completely missing. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw I posted pictures of it. I repaired it. This is something that a lot of people, your average Joe, would have a hard time sharpening that, especially if you're trying to use something like a crock stick. A crock stick's not going to have the abrasive power to take that out. And the fact is, when people are like, oh, I don't know why you get so wound up about it, it's just the edge grind. It's not like it affects, you know, in a life or death situation. Here's the thing. A lot of us aren't going to be in a life or death situation. We're going to be in a situation where we need a sharp knife, and then it gets dull, and then we're going to need to be able to resharpen it. And most people aren't going to be able to get that done. I'm not gonna lie, this is frustrating because I like Kaiser knives, a lot of their knives. I brag about Kaiser knives being one of those Chinese companies that is raising the bar, even compared to American makers. There's a Kaiser and Riat, Riat, Kaiser, I've only seen a couple of Reichs, but that's kind of the order. Riat has set, Riat, they've set a standard that American companies are trying to catch up to now. But it's the simplest things that get left undone properly. And it's just frustrating because this is almost recurved. And I'm gonna have to put a lot of time into this, and I'm gonna take a lot of material off the knife. It's frustrating. And I see more and more and more of it, and I would hazard a guess, I see it in straight razors too, I would hazard a guess to say that it's the new guard. Folks that have been making knives for a while, and the guys that got good at it have moved into positions where they're not doing the little grunt work stuff. So like sharpening knives might be considered grunt work at a factory. Well, as you promote, maybe you go up and you're running a machine as opposed to sharpening knives. But they're not making sure that the person that's taking that spot is doing a good job. It's just frustrating. So that's it. That's my little rant. I've got these to do. He's got two more knives. I'm really hoping the Fox, there's another one, that Fox Took. The Fox Tuck, T-U-K, I think, that he sent me. It's ground. I looked at it earlier, and it's misground at the tip. It's chiseled at the tip, which tells me that probably the rest of the blade is misground. You know, does that misgrind matter? Can I follow that? Yeah, but it's not going to hold an edge as well. You get one angle, it's like this, one angle, it's like this, and the second material gets, it's just going to roll that edge over because it's not feeding material along the edge evenly. This one, we'll go ahead and look at this one. This one is just so shorted and blended. It's got a whole dull spot right here where I can't even get the blade up against it. And then I'm trying to marry this edge up. Now this is getting sharp, but the rest of it isn't. And it's aesthetically, it's unpleasant because now there's a spot where the blade was ground differently. So there's a thick spot, so the edge comes out, and it's not a nice, straight, clean. I'll turn the camera around again, I'll show you. Like I said, I'm kind of a perfectionist and I like the aesthetics of it. I don't find this aesthetically pleasing when the material is thicker in a spot and then you wind up with this where it bellies down. But I mean, there's not much I can do about that. That's the way the knife was made. And then on this side, it is so thick right here, or has been misground up like that, that, can you see the facets? I'm not getting the factory material off of it. So, in a couple spaces there too. So it's just frustrating. I want this to come out perfect, and I want it to go to the customer and be perfect. Right now, it's not. But I have addressed the misgrind at the tip on this one. It's pretty even now, but I still have factory edge there, factory edge there. There's factory edge back here, and I'm having a hard time getting it out of there. This side, this is good. But here, there's still factory edge at the tip, just because the angle I'm trying to maintain on both sides does not marry up evenly or well. And it's hard, it's rough trying to do that. So guys, that's it. I just wanted to address why people ask, like, why do you give a crap? Why do you throw such a fit? Well, that's why. It makes my job more difficult. It makes life for the customer more difficult. It costs the customer more. And it takes what could be an attractive knife and almost ruins it. So guys, that's it. I am going to mention this. A lot of you do know that I have a Patreon. If you like my channel, you like my videos, like and subscribe. If you really like my videos, go to the Patreon and donate. That's what allows me, when I don't get stuff in. The Patreon is designed not to pay me a wage, but allow me to do things with this channel that I couldn't do because I don't have really much income right now. So to be able to keep the channel and use that money towards things, you know, it'd be nice to be able to have some really nice things, and then I could do a lottery for the subscribers on these items, and they basically, people pay into it, and we could keep money coming into the channel. We could do more things. I'd like to go to a couple knife shows and take you guys with me. I can't do that because a lot of times I can't afford to go anywhere. So that's it, guys. I know a lot of people don't like me talking about the Patreon, but guess what? It's my channel. I'm going to talk about the Patreon because I really need to use that as an avenue to get this channel where I want it to go. So we are past 1,000. We're almost 1,100 now. James Yates, I still have got to get that knife out to you. I just have not had time. James Yates, if you guys don't know, won the giveaway, the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, won that knife. I want to resharpen it before I send it, and I just have not had time. Been really busy. So got a bunch more Fair and Forged that come in. I am going to try and get this one done before I start on theirs. It's kind of out of the norm. Normally Fair and Forged knives kick you guys to the end or behind them, so I only have 3 though. I'm pretty sure I can get those done before Friday, but I've had Tom's knives. Most of what took so long was anodizing. The Fox he wanted done. He wanted the backspacer purple and the pocket clip purple, and I kept messing with it. It turns out they're 2 different alloys of titanium, and so they oxidize at different. So when I was getting purple on the pocket clip, I was getting blue on the backspacer. So I had to play with the voltage and measure it up and marry it up and things like that. So all right guys, that's it. I'm out of here. I got to finish these knives. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you next time.